8 months with a zero press. Would I do it again? Absolutely. It's funny because I've gone through presses over the last however many years, constantly trying to find what fits me. And, I did a little bit with a rock chucker. That definitely was not for me. I went to a coax, really enjoyed it. I think it's a great press. It did everything I asked of it. I then migrated into Dillon products, went to a 550 and a 750 to help expedite the process. But as I expedited more and more of the process, I felt like I was losing something. And again, that's just me. I know plenty of way better shooters than me that load on a Dillon. So it's not that the Dillon can't do it. It just didn't fit my process the way I wanted it to. And so when I had the opportunity to buy the Zero Press, I figured, yeah, why not? And so I love it. I'm 8 months into it. I have zero regrets. Of course I miss processing brass through a Dillon with an auto drive on it. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to say that it does everything I want because, who loves processing brass? But when I look at a $4,000 Dillon, for the sake of processing brass compared to the Zero Press, which is, yes, it's still an expensive press, but what good things aren't? This actually saved me a ton of money. And it does everything I want better for me other than the time savings, right? And I can still rip through brass plenty fast on this. I just have to pull the handle. So what do I love? What don't I love about it, if anything? Here's the thing. The design of it is still fantastic. I love the roller handle on it. It actually does help save my arm and hand because of how it turns and rotates, but still lets me get plenty of leverage. I did go out and buy, in fact, it was just recently, they finally got the rings back in stock. So I bought a full set of rings for it because I really love their rings. I went ahead and bought the accessory tray. And the accessory tray, it's probably hard to see here, but the accessory tray is really nice because it goes on the back side. There's an entire rail system back here. So you can go as low as, you can go all the way down here, depending on the mount that you're using, up to almost the height of the turret. It's right about here. I like it right about here. And even though I don't really have a lot on here, it's just nice having a place to put it. And I do like that they put the magnet on the side for the calipers and stuff. And then if I do want to hang this up, I can just stick it there and it's out of the way for me. So, the accessories are great. I can't wait for the universal shell holder to come in. I'm really excited about that one. Still love my big dog mount. And, still no flex out of it. If anything, this bench moves just ever so slight if I'm really pushing on something, but I don't really push on stuff that hard. Sizing, still just dead on accurate. Bullet seating, just stupid accurate. I just really love it. And, yeah, sure, call me a 419 fanboy or whatever. I just think that Craig and the gang over there make really good products. I know it's not for everybody, though. I get it. I see enough of the hate in my comments on different videos about, who's dumb enough to buy a press that expensive. You don't need it. I'm just going to tell you, I need it and I want it. And so I bought it. And I don't have any regrets. And, the ability to turn and pick whatever I need to work on, I've really enjoyed. And, I'll give you a perfect example. There are times where, as I'm processing brass, maybe I forget to size a piece of brass, and that will show up when I'm on my Gerode trimmer, because the Gerode trimmer, I have a custom insert and it is for sized brass, not fired brass. So if I try to put a piece of fired brass in, it won't fit right, and I know that it needs to be resized. So right there, that catches a mistake, and then I can just bring it over, hit it with some one shot real quick. I can just spin this real quick, get over here, boom, I can size it, wipe it off, put it back in the Gerode, and trim away. Maybe I forget to decap something. I can just come over here and decap something. If I need to pull a bullet real quick, maybe I want to point a few things. I just really like the flexibility that the turret gives me. Even though I'm only doing one process at a time typically, there's plenty of times where I need to shuttle between a couple things. while I'm testing or changing a part of the process or something. And having the turret is a huge thing for me. Now, I only load one caliber. I get that it's probably a little overkill for a single caliber. I can tell you if I loaded a bunch of calibers, this thing would be even more amazing because of the ability to pop this entire head off, which, you know, I don't really have a need for, and I'm sure you've seen videos of how it works, but here is, you know, I mean, literally you just pop it right off, right? And that is your tool head. And, you know, from that design, I really like it because I know guys who use this for multiple calibers and they absolutely swear by it. You know, again, for single caliber, it's fantastic because I never have to change the actual turret head, but nevertheless, it's there if I ever needed to. So things that I've done that are annoying with it. Well, I really like the spent primer catch. However, there are times where I will, with my compressed air, you know, I'll be blowing things off, and if I do it the wrong way, it will literally send, you know, this primer tray out. When it's full, what'll happen is stuff will spray out, yeah, like that. So, you know, I've just learned to be careful with it. In fact, you know, I don't really, you know, I'll clean this out and then I'll clean out the hole. But it was a learning curve to get used to. You know, the shell holder, it does move just a little bit. It floats just a bit until pressure is applied. So you do have to be really consistent with how you put brass in because it will turn just ever so slightly because of the way the O-ring on the bottom works. Again, not a big deal, but a little bit of a learning curve. And gosh, other than that, there really ain't much. As anybody will tell you who owns one, you do have to make sure that you've got this torqued down. So you can feel there's like a hump in it when it unlocks and lets you rotate. And then I just give it a cinch and then it's good. Now, if I were to put, you know, a ton of pressure on it, I could probably spin it out of there before this thing fully torques. But if I really wanted to, you know, you can sit there and you can, so now I can torque it down and it is 100% nailed down. I do find, however, that for any process I'm doing, if I just give it a hard snug, it is right where I want it to be. You know, I really don't have much else to say about it because I haven't had any bad thoughts about it, to be honest. I don't know. I mean, this is sort of a weird thing because I don't do a lot of follow-up videos, but I thought this one was pretty important because I know you guys see me cycle through stuff. And I'm sure there's plenty of you that thought, oh, you know, he's going to play with the zero press and then he'll move on to something else, you know, that is cheaper or works better or something like that. That's not the case. I'll be honest, I think this is going to be one of my, you know, it's hard to say, obviously, but I really do think this is going to be one of my forever tools, kind of like my Gerode trimmer and a couple other things that I own where, you know, I might change some other processes or try some other toys, but I just don't see this press going anywhere. So, you know, if you haven't gotten one and you've been considering it, all I can tell you is that after 8 months of use, I'm actually more in love with it than when I first unpacked it. That is not something I say lightly, and I certainly don't say it a lot about things that I use. I tend to pick things apart pretty hard as I use them. Yeah, I do fall in love pretty easily, but I also fall out of love with toys just as fast. This just hasn't been one of those toys. So if you've been looking at one, if you've been considering one, if you've been waiting for somebody to say, hey, what's it like after 8 months of use? I'm here to tell you this thing ain't going anywhere on my bench. So there you go. Have a good one. We will talk later.